Namaste, Jai Bharat. We say and believe that Bharat is Viswaguru. I don't know how to translate the concept of Viswaguru into English because I'm sure that any of such translations are likely to fall short of the entire connotations of the concept of Vishwaguru. Vishwaguru is the one that who can provide knowledge to the entire cosmos, at least the world, but implied cosmos. Now, why should one say that Bharat is Vishwaguru? And the people in Bharat do not speak spuriously, the archetype people of Bharat. They don't simply speak things without basis, without reasons, without content. There are people who would say that we are the best people in the world. There are people, societies who say, especially Pakistan, they say we have everything, we are the best people, etc. That's their thought. They say that. No harm, let them keep saying that, though it's nothing short of an intense and immense self deception. But this is not the case. When we say Bharat is Vishwaguru, there are reasons for that. I'll give you an example of Swami Vivekananda. When it was a British British colonizing Bharat, he asked the youth of Bharat to be Swabhimanis, that is self-respecting. Now this call, clarion call, uh, actually taught the people of Bharat, especially the youth of Bharat, to be self-respecting, but to be self-respecting must be on the basis of certain reasons, certain facts which are respectable. If one should feel respect to oneself, one must have certain attributes, qualities, properties, and Swami Vivekananda was trying to show to the youth of Bharat that you have, at least, you have inherited given properties, qualities, etc. The only thing you really have to practice it more into your life. It's already inherent in you. You just got it through hereditary, and you have to work upon it to possess it. Just because you have inherited it doesn't mean that it can manifest. Inherited, all right, but to make it manifest, you have to work towards it honestly with all the qualities presupposed. But similarly, when we say Bharat is Vishwaguru, we are strongly based on a very strong foundation to say that I'm conscious and I'm sure that I cannot exhaust the inventory for of many aspects and reasons and characters upon which we can claim to be Vishwaguru. But let me say a few things that comes to my mind right now. One, knowledge hub. The most people in the world and most write-ups in history talks about a Bharat which is not ancient, because the ancient Bharat is not known to the world. They knew Bharat only after the European involvement in Bharatiya society, their connections. The Europeans like the Portuguese, the Dutch, I suppose, yes, and then eventually the British. And prior to that, the Islamic world, the Mughals, they stayed here for 800 years, a long period. Now, during this 800 plus 200 is some 1,000 years of foreign, unscrupulous rule. They were not benevolent people. They were not benevolent rulers. During this time, much of our vitality had been destroyed. Of course, since it is a Hindu society, since it is Bharat, since Bharat is their own knowledge tradition, it could not be destroyed and it cannot be destroyed, but were really badly damaged, very badly damaged. So it's only the post-damaged picture of Bharat that is available to the world as in today. Or that is when the rest of the world were acquiring consciousness and a kind of knowledge. They have seen Bharat like that only, because prior to that, what Bharat was, they had no idea of knowing. Now we say that Viswaguru upon many reasons. Number one, it is knowledge of. There was a time, I'm just telling you, there was a time when Bharat had nearly 6,50,000 or 7 lakhs, between this many number of universities. Well above 6,50,000, and there must be below 7 lakhs universities. We call universities as Gurukulas. And the universities were large and small. Now, don't underestimate the small Gurukulas, because the small Gurukulas were catering to super specialization knowledge. Names of such universities must be known to you, or at least must be available in the internet. Nalanda, too many. Nalanda, Vikramashila, Takshashila. Most important is Takshashila. Many such universities. All over Sri Mulavasa, another university. And we don't discriminate between who are the acharyas who run the university, whether they are Sanatanis or Buddhis or Jains, doesn't make any difference to us. We were concerned with the knowledge, and rest assured, all the knowledge were based on the Veda Upanishadic knowledge tradition, extensions and branching thereupon. The root remained the same. So one is because of the number of universities, so many universities, smaller, big. Small means hyper specialization, not only super, maybe hyper specialization. Now, that's a situation where people from all over the world came here to learn, because knowledge is nobody's property. Everyone who attempts to know is entitled to knowledge. And in every nook and corner of the world, wherever there is civilization, people are there who will want to know, who will want to learn things. And somebody who wants to know things, he will try to learn, and he will somehow know that there are places where one can go to know, and they normally travel to Bharat and join one of these universities, and then learn, and then go back to their place. And after going back, what they do? They expand. They just can't keep quiet. Knowledge is like a lamp lit. It has to spread light. So they go back to the society and work upon it. There they get more colleagues who will want to learn, who somehow cannot travel this far to learn, but then learn from this man who had learned and came from there. And then they work in their direction. They expand their knowledge, and then they accomplish a lot of achievements. Now, if you look at the world civilizations, this is my feel. No evidences, this is logic and logical conjecture. In all the world civilization, where the civilized society is also knowledge society, we will find knowledge of a particular area. Look at the Aztecs, look at the Mayas, look at the Egyptians, look at the Babylonians, and look at all those people, Sumerians, and all those people. They have given knowledge. But this is one thing where one should think of. They know about certain area of knowledge. There is no knowledge society in the entire world which had known, which tries to know every aspects of knowledge, every aspect of knowledge. And the only society which had tried and acquired knowledge about every aspect of knowledge is Bharat. There is nothing in the area of knowledge. There is nothing in the all realms of knowledge which Bharatiya knowledge tradition had not explored into and achieved. Just think. I can rhetorically say, from Kama Sutra to Vedanta we have known. Kama Sutra to Advaita Vedanta we have known. We acquire knowledge. It means there is no knowledge area which is left unexplored by this society. That alone is sufficient to make Bharat Vishwaguru. That alone is sufficient to make. Now, there are so many other attributes based on this knowledge tradition, because this knowledge tradition becomes a foundation from where a Sanskriti or culture, roughly translating, evolves. It has a knowledge tradition as a basis, evolves, and that kind of a nobility, Sanskriti, that's the right word. Culture is an inappropriate translation of Sanskriti into English. The Sanskriti evolves, which makes human refined, and further refined. Look at their behavior. There were feuds and quarrels between the kings in Bharat, all right, but Bharat had never attacked any other nation for greed, for amassing property, for taking somebody's land, for acquiring money and bringing people into slavery. Nothing of this thing happened in the long history of Bharatiya knowledge tradition. Nothing happened. Is that not a nobility? And even today, we never attacked anyone in the past, and we don't attack anyone in the present, but we know how to react. And without reacting, we can't exist. The stronger the knowledge tradition, the stronger the characters are. We know how to stand by, and we will react when we have to react. So there are many reasons. And now for tomorrow, for the world, I'm not telling peace, because there are so many people who are all are claiming to be peaceful, which is very dubitable. For the world tomorrow, for the comfortable coexistence of the world tomorrow, we need to have an epistemology of coexistence of the multiple and plural, which includes the cosmos, not only human beings. Let's not be selfish that we talk only about human beings. We have to talk about every living being and non-living being. That's the coexistence of the cosmos, which comes under the concept of multiple and plural. If we have to live, if we have to understand that coexistence, we have to go to the Vedas, because the Vedas teach us about the coexistence of the multiple and plural. I need not to go further. This is sufficient. Now, for a future world where people have to coexistence, nobody else can take the lead other than this nation, Bharat. And I'm sure Bharat will keep producing at least such meaningful leaders from time to time. We have a concept of avatars. We have what Bhagavad Gita says, the avatars will take place from time to time when required. All these things are there in our knowledge tradition of the past, and we experience these things as coming true. They're not prophecies. They're only intellectual precognition or intellectual speculations and conjectures based on a very solid logic. So, that's another reason for Bharat to be Vishwaguru. That who will lead this nation into coexistence and comfort. Forget about peace. Artificially created peace is no peace. Morality cannot be understood as lack of opportunity. For many people, morality is lack of opportunity. There is a law that forces you to live properly, and the moment that law is missing, you are out. You become an animal back again within no time. You go back to square one of animality. That's not what the world needs tomorrow. What the world needs is genuinely coexisting. It should not be the case that morality is lack of opportunity. Morality must not be lack of opportunity. Morality or goodness or good behavior, good conduct, whatever it is, must be an inherent nature of an existing human being. That is a situation which you are looking for, and none other than Bharat, the nation. And if you talk about dharma, Hindu dharma, that Hindu dharma includes all Bharatiya dharmas, Jains, Bauddha, Sikh, everything. It comes in I'm just generally saying, they all have the same roots. and they branched to the different places. No harm, let it branch as many as possible, but the roots remain the same. They do the same thing. Through this way or that way, they ultimately speak about the coexistence. So the world can be bettered only through a leadership of Bharat. That makes Bharat a Vishwaguru. It's not only knowledge. And of course, one more thing I will say, though it becomes long, one more thing I will stay and conclude. We had knowledge. Now, when others understand knowledge today, they understand of cognitive knowledge. I say cognitive knowledge very narrowly, in the sense that I am telling when cognitive knowledge, when it is scientific knowledge, in the sense where science is to be understood as, in this context, is to be understood as knowledge on the basis of causation, cause-effect knowledge. Now, cause-effect relationship, causality, causation, causal connection, and the knowledge on the basis of that is called scientific knowledge. But when you treat scientific knowledge as systematic, then of course that transcends this definition of causation, causality. But as we see today, scientific knowledge as understood today is causation, causality, causal connection based knowledge of antecedent, consequent, all those things. Systematic knowledge, when we call scientific knowledge, that will include Bharatiya knowledge tradition, which is not cognitive. Cognitive simply means sense object contact. Why science plays a role? Because science creates such scientific instruments which enhances the limitations of our sense organs, because fundamentally everything is in science is known through sense experience, sense object contact experience, and where sense have limitations, they have instruments in science which makes the sense more capable to understand things. Fine, you understand it. But there is a method of knowing in Bharat, Yogaja, which is trans-sensory perception. I can't speak about it more because it will take more time. It's a different system of knowledge, a different area of knowing, different method of knowing. Yogaja, trans-sensory perception, which is there in the yogic, the philosophy of yoga. Philosophy of yoga means philosophy of yoga. It's not simply yogasana and postures, which is a physical and mental discipline, which is available to you today, but the other things are not available to you. It's a system of philosophy, and is science, as science understood as system of knowledge, not as causally connected, not as knowledge based on causation, causal connection, no, but as a system of knowledge. That is science. Now, the method of knowing was that I need not to go about struggling to prove it, because the proof is out there in front of you. In many cases, it's written on stones, engraved on stones. Bharatiya knowledge tradition is there, and of course texts. Composing texts is a phenomenon which took place much later in the long Bharatiya knowledge tradition period. Composition of text took place much later, but knowledge existed in the Shruti, Smriti tradition in the past. Much later they were composed into texts. So, evidences there are there, texts. Look at the knowledge which is present in any Bharatiya text. Vedas and Upanishads, they are not religious texts as people misunderstand, they are knowledge texts. But the knowledge is composed in a typical way. You can even say as in an enigmatic way, which calls for interpretation from time to time and space to space. That we had a distinct knowledge tradition. We knew things through our own methods, which of course this 1,000 years of domination of people who are aliens to us, Sanskriti based, who had no idea about what Bharatiya knowledge tradition is, and who still do not have any idea what Bharatiya knowledge tradition is. They come here but they fail to understand and learn, except very few. This period, what happened? Number one, science emerged subsequently in this last 1,000 years of time. In that, science emerged, and the need of yogaja was not there subsequently, slowly. If it was there, that knowledge of science would have been much, much wider, deeper, and quicker. Number one. Number two, our methods, our schools, our pathshalas, our universities were destroyed. That gentleman gentleman in inverted commas, Bhaktiar Khilji, put fire to Nalanda library alone, which is said to be burning for 4 months or some months, continuously burning. Such great people were there. Destroyed all the architectures wherever they could. Such great people were there. These were the setbacks with Bharatiya knowledge tradition had to take. Our method of knowing, on the one hand, that kind of knowledge tradition is hard. That kind of method of knowing is hard, and subsequently, with the cognitive sciences emerging, it was not to be required. Other thing, cognitive sciences methods are easier, quicker, and demonstrable. So there are many reasons if we look into to justify or to comprehend Bharat as Viswaguru. Of course, Bharat had been Viswaguru. He is also Viswaguru, though latent, but will continue to be Viswaguru. The world will depend on Bharat, and we are not irrationally proud in the sense that we are positively proud, but we don't dominate. We don't dominate anyone or anything. We don't even try to dominate a blade of grass. So, rule out the question of the people of Bharat dominating other people in other societies. We don't, because that's not in our nature. We don't want to dominate. We don't want anything from anyone. Let's make our own ends meet. We know. These are the things that would make Bharat Viswaguru. And if you go for a narrative, it's unending. I was just trying to touch the very, very minimum area of the tip of an unknown sized iceberg. So till we meet again. Namaste. Jai Bharat. Jai Shri Ram.